Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, we are covering one of the biggest media stories of the decade. Netflix has announced a deal to acquire Warner Bros. Yes, the entire Warner Bros. Studio, including HBO, HBO Max, the DC Universe, and Warner's entire film and TV library. And the price tag is shocking. A total enterprise value of $82.7 billion. This deal will reshape Hollywood, it'll reshape streaming, it'll reshape entertainment as a whole. But it's also created a massive uproar online and in government circles because there are real antitrust concerns and accusations of a monopoly. And in a few minutes, you'll see exactly why. In this video, we're going to unpack everything. What Netflix actually bought, what happens to HBO and Warner Bros., why people are calling this a monopoly, the financial details including the cash plus stock collar, the timeline and regulatory hurdles, the fallout for creators, actors, studios, and you as a subscriber, and what this means for the future of streaming. This is one of the most complex deals ever announced, but I'm going to break it all down clear, easy to understand. So let's get into it. Here we're taking a look at the Nielsen gauge, which covers total TV broadcasting, and they break it down by platform as well. As you can see here, we have Netflix covering 8% of market share. And if we go all the way down, we have Warner Bros. Discovery at 1.3%. What is Netflix actually buying? Let's start with the basics. Netflix is acquiring Warner Bros. After Warner completes a separation of its global network division into separate publicly traded company called Discovery Global, the separation is expected to finish in Q3 of 2026. Once that happens, Netflix takes over. Warner Bros., film studios and television studios, HBO, HBO Max, all Warner Bros. IP and franchises, and the entire TV and film library going back a century. We're talking about the biggest franchises in entertainment, such as Harry Potter, the DC Universe, The Big Bang Theory, Game of Thrones, The Sopranos, The Wizards of Oz, Friends, Casablanca, Citizen Kane. All of these would now live under Netflix's control. Netflix also says it plans to maintain Warner Bros.' current operations, including theatrical releases, so movies will still hit theaters before going to streaming. Next, let's look at the deal value and the financial breakdown. We're going to look at the numbers because this deal is massive. Netflix is paying a total enterprise value of $82.7 billion. The equity value, meaning what shareholders actually receive, is $72 billion. Warner Bros. Shareholders get $23.25 in cash per share and $4.50 worth of Netflix stock per share. The stock part of the deal has a safety net called a collar, so the value doesn't change too wildly if Netflix's price moves a lot. In short, no matter which way the price jumps, the deal stays roughly the same amount. Both sides are protected from big surprises. Financing is also already lined up. Wells Fargo, BNP, and HSBC are providing committed debt financing. Netflix also expects $2 to $3 billion in cost savings by the third year, which is a huge part of why they're doing this. They also claim the deal will be accretive to earnings by year 2, meaning Netflix expects this to add profits fairly quickly. Next, we're going to look at why did Netflix do this. Netflix has been clear. They believe this move makes them the dominant entertainment company for the next century. Here's Netflix's pitch. A massive jump in content library. They instantly gain one of the richest film and TV catalogs on Earth. Bigger global reach for HBO and Warner Bros. IP. Netflix already has over 260 million subscribers worldwide. They can now distribute HBO content globally with one click. They have stronger studio capabilities. Netflix becomes not just a streaming service, but a true Hollywood mega studio. There's more value for members. By becoming HBO, Warner, and Netflix originals, they offer the broadest catalog in streaming history. There's more opportunities for creators. Warner Bros. Has huge franchises. Netflix has huge global outreach. Creators get access to both. There's also stronger financial growth. More content means more engagement and more revenue. That's Netflix's argument, and honestly, strategically, it makes a lot of sense. This is where things get tense. There's a huge uproar. There's people saying that this is a monopoly and there's antitrust. People and government regulators are worried about these two major issues. In monopoly power, Netflix already dominates streaming, and by adding HBO, Warner Bros., and the DC Universe gives them unprecedented control. It creates a scenario where one company owns the world's largest streaming platform, one of the world's largest film studios, the most prestigious television brand, HBO, legacy franchises dating back 100 years. This is the kind of consolidation antitrust regulators typically hate. Next, it's anti-competitive behavior. Critics worry that Netflix could prioritize Warner content and bury their competitors. They could raise prices. They could squeeze out rival studios. They could limit licensing deals. They could control too much of the market. The public discussion right now is extremely heated. People are worried this creates a Disney 2.0 situation, but even bigger. Regulatory approval is not guaranteed. The deal must pass approvals in the US, the EU, and the UK, and several Asia-Pacific markets. The US has aggressively challenged big media mergers in the last 5 years. This one will face intense scrutiny, and Netflix knows this. That's why their press release included pages of legal disclaimers and risk warnings. The bottom line is, the deal will not close quickly. Even Netflix admits it could take between 12 and 18 months, and that's only if regulators approve it. What is Discovery Global and why does it matter? This part is confusing, so let me explain simply. Before Netflix can buy Warner Bros., Warner Bros. Discovery must separate its global networks division into a new company called Discovery Global. Netflix is not buying CNN, TNT Sports, Discovery Channel, Discovery Plus, Bleacher Report, European free-to-air networks, and international sports and news brands. These go into Discovery Global. Then Netflix buys the remaining, the streaming studio division, which Warner Bros., HBO Max, and the entire studio operation. Why this matters? It reduces the size of the deal and removes regulatory complications with news and sports. It lets Netflix focus entirely on entertainment. Discovery Global becomes a standalone media giant after the spinoff. So for viewers, HBO becomes Netflix, CNN becomes Discovery Global. What does this mean for us as viewers? Here's what happens from our perspective. More content from Netflix. Expect HBO programming to slowly integrate into Netflix after closing. There could be possible pricing changes. With a bigger catalog, Netflix may even raise prices. There could be fewer streaming services. These accelerate the collapse of the streaming wars. We're moving towards Netflix, Disney, Amazon, and Discovery Global. Everyone else may get acquired or fade away. And the end of HBO Max as we know it. HBO Max likely gets merged and rebranded under Netflix's umbrella. Netflix and Warner Bros. Means blockbuster level budgets. What does this mean for Hollywood and creators? This deal deeply affects creators, actors, and studios. There's more opportunities but fewer buyers. Netflix says creators will have more opportunities to work with big IP, but others argue it reduces competition because there will be fewer studios, which means fewer bidders for scripts and projects. There will be bigger productions. Netflix's global scale means massive budgets for the franchise. This could have an impact on jobs. Netflix promises growth, but the $2 to $3 billion in annual cost savings almost certainly involves layoffs. There's a long-term shift in the industry. This is a final step in Hollywood merging with Silicon Valley. Streaming platforms are no longer just distributors. They now control everything. This is one of the most important entertainment deals of our lifetimes. Netflix acquiring Warner Bros. Will reshape movies, television, and streaming for decades. Some people are excited and others are worried about monopolies. But no matter what side you're on, one thing is certain. Hollywood will never look the same after this. The next 12 to 18 months are going to be extremely interesting as regulators analyze the deal, shareholders vote, Discovery Global spin-offs, and Netflix prepares to integrate a century of storytelling into their platform. Let me know in the comments, do you think this deal should be approved? Is this good for streaming or is it too much power for one company? Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.